what's up, everybody? It's your girl, your host and favorite author, FM Mellis, and you are with us on the block. Welcome to today's episode. So I know you noticed a different studio, a different guest. We're doing a little something different for you on today's episode, and I'm gonna just get right into it. So you'll be hard pressed to get online and miss the discontent or the feeling of discontent amongst all of us, well, most of us that are single, married, booed up in situationships, from sassy men to masculine women. I mean, our love life or the lack thereof has us in a chokehold. Would you all agree?
Yeah,
Maybe not. Somebody may be good.
Absolutely.
And it's hard if you go on TikTok to X, Instagram to YouTube. There are numerous memes, reels, stories, and podcasts like this one talking about that very subject, relationships. But today we're talking about the Black relationship, right? So since we're filming here in beautiful Atlanta, Georgia, the place for me that felt like the Black Mecca when I moved here 2 decades ago. But now it feels like it has become a cesspool of infidelity, identity crisis, thought life, gaslighting, breadcrumbing, ghosting, just overall buffoonery. But don't fret, it's okay. Today's episode, I'm calling the state of emergency, dating, loving, and married while Black. And in this episode, our goal is to highlight pain points that are shared amongst both men and women, and then talk through some practical resolutions so we can live in peace and not pieces. Or we can love in peace and not pieces. Yes? We good?
Yeah.
So we'll get into it right after this. Welcome to the block. So welcome back to the block. So you see, I have a beautiful cast with me today. I'm gonna say cast because we're playing out our real life right in front of you. So to my left, well, wait a minute. I'm gonna start with ladies first. My girl, you've seen her before in one of our episodes. What were we talking about?
Ooh, the bagel.
The bagel, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The bagel episode.
Mm-hmm.
This is Tonette Slang.
Yes.
And she's an HR professional. Next to her, we have Ed Banuel, who is a filmmaker. Howard University, HBCU.
you know.
And to my left, you all may know him as Dr. Julio on TikTok. My boy, Austin. Austin, give me your last name.
Broughton.
Austin Broughton. So welcome. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to just go right into it as a jugular. So I'm going to go with ladies first.
Mm-hmm.
I want you all to ponder as I'm going around the room. If you would like to reveal your relationship status, and then tell me what your ideal relationship looked like the components of it.
Got you. Thank you first and foremost for having me here.
Welcome.
I'm single. And my ideal of a relationship at this age, as I learned through the mistakes, is first and foremost putting God as that foundation, having him first. Whereas in the past, realistically, that was not the case. So now for me, ideal is, are we able to worship, praise together, and also cover and protect one another. So it's a broad range of things, but starting there, I think sets that foundation to kind of what that looks like. And just knowing no one is perfect, not me, and expect imperfection.
I love it. Ed?
Well, thank you for having me again.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here.
So I'm single, and I would say for me, it's about lifestyle compatibility.
Okay.
You know, as she mentioned about having God as the foundation. And I also feel like it's just everything from your interests to your goals and aspirations, and just a little combination of all of that. It's important.
Okay. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Austin, Dr. Julio.
First of all, thank you for having me on this panel. I'm glad to be
Thank
here.
you for accepting my invitation.
Of course, how could I not? My relationship status currently is single. My ideal relationship is a carbon copy of what my mother and father have. They have been married for, it would be 33 years this year. I watched my father be as close to Christ-like as a man could be.
Mm.
And I watched my mother be as close to Proverbs 31 woman as a woman could possibly be.
Mm.
So I see, I saw it the right way. I want to try to repeat it the right way.
I love it. In Proverbs, what's the scripture?
Proverbs 31.
What does that say? I'm sorry, I'm not.
A man that findeth a wife findeth a good thing.
Absolutely.
In that order. I didn't say it. The good book did.
Yeah.
So I am also not in a relationship. And my definition, my ideal relationship is one where, first of all, there's a commitment initially.
Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and we have great communication, great sex. We have financial goals that are in alignment. We have similar ideas of what it means to raise kids and deal with an expanded family and friend group. And we have pretty much the same type of tolerance when it comes to the balance of going out, entertaining, and being at home at peace.
Right.
We just in alignment with a lot of things, and I only can figure that out if we have the upfront conversation. So once again, communication is important, and the ultimate thing for me is consideration on both parts.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I am so glad that you all set yourselves up by giving me those beautiful definitions of your ideal relationship.
Yeah.
So walk me through the thing that you want in a relationship. Are you working to become the thing that you want in a relationship? And if so, what does that look like on a daily basis?
That's interesting.
I think you got to have your own identity. You have to work on yourself. You have to figure out.
On this show, we're gonna own it. So you got to say I.
Okay.
So how are you doing the daily work to get that relationship you want?
Absolutely. So I would say, one, I pray every day, having the spiritual foundation. I'm clear about my goals, what I want to acquire in life.
Okay.
Setting those goals, whether it be financial goals, career goals, and then doing the things that make me feel whole. For example, going to get a massage, exercising, writing scripts, those are the things that make me feel whole as a man, being a father to my son.
Okay.
And then I can merge my lifestyle with someone else, but we have to complement each other. It can't just be, I'm depending on them to bring me happiness. I have to bring happiness in the room.
Right. So do you have a real life example of out here dating? So let's say you're out somewhere. Say you at what are these things? Blue, black, red, martini room, ball, rooftops, all these things, all the places.
Yeah.
You see a woman from across the room. Matter of fact, let's take it out the bar setting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, where else will we go in Atlanta?
Just go, let's say the
We're at a
Thompson
restaurant.
Hotel.
That is still a bar setting.
That's true. You're right. Oh my gosh.
So, okay, we'll go with the Thompson Hotel,
Yeah.
which is always booked, so you can never get in there because they don't have parties, but okay. So you there, you see a woman across the room. What initially attracts you to that woman?
Physical always first.
Okay. All right. So
That's
physical, and how do you approach that?
I would say how she carries herself.
Mm-hmm.
And how she carries herself, and then I would say just an introduction, how you doing, or what, whatever the introduction may be. I'll find something that if I see her ordering something and a specialty cocktail that I may like, and I have that in common, I would just strike up a conversation from that.
Okay.
Just finding something that I can link to as a common ground, a common denominator that would spark an interesting conversation.
Great. I appreciate that. When you see that beautiful woman or sexy woman, that attractive woman who carry herself well across the room at the Thompson Hotel that nobody can get into because they always have private parties, what is the purpose of approaching her?
The purpose is to get to know. If she strikes my interest, if I find her intriguing, the purpose is to learn more about her.
Like you interviewing her for a job, or what is the
No.
purpose? I'm gonna dig deep today, so
I
I'm gonna make people uncomfortable today.
Nah, I think the purpose, I think at the end of the day, if I'm a single black man,
Mm-hmm.
and ultimately I am looking to find Mrs. Right. I don't know where I'm gonna find her at, but if I happen to run into her at a coffee shop or a bar or whatever it may be,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel the first thing, we're visual. Men are visual.
Right.
So the first thing I see, if I'm attracted to her, I like the way she carries herself. I want to get to know her better or learn more about her.
Okay.
So the purpose is step number one is to,
Find out who she is.
Find out who she is. Because I don't know what I don't know.
Right. I love it.
You
I'm
know?
gonna let you hold on to that.
Okay.
And I'm gonna come on across here.
Okay.
To Austin.
What am I looking for in the? How do I approach a beautiful woman?
Yeah. How do you? Well, so in your day to day, you describe you want your relationship to show up like your parents.
Yes.
What work are you doing to attract that type of relationship?
The first thing that I did, and am still doing, identifying the internal flaws that I possess. That requires a whole lot of genuine honesty with yourself. It requires a lot of talking to oneself. People always say you're crazy when you talk to yourself. No, not if you're honest with yourself. You're doing the right thing. And being somebody's father myself, having a failed relationship previously, I owe it to not only myself but my child to be and create the best father that I can be and the best man I can be. Part of that is identifying some of the naturally narcissistic characteristics that we as men possess, and de-amplifying those and retooling them to serve the woman. We all have narcissistic tendencies. It's about how you use all the tools that you've given. They can be either used constructively or destructively, and that's the primary thing that I would say that I'm doing.
The fact that you went internal before looking for external is, I hope everybody got that.
Oh yeah.
And keep that nugget, keep that gem. We'll bring it back up later. So now,
I got work. I'm fully aware of my flaws. I know I can be my worst critic. I've come to terms with, as I continue to grow in therapy, personal development, I've been doing for the last 7 years, I am who I am. I'm not perfect. So I look for someone who can accept that. So I try to my best whenever I meet someone to expose all of who I am. Because, we get that representative in the beginning. So I try to expose all of who I am. So therefore, if you see a flaw that you consider a flaw, and if you speak about it, and if there's some room for development, let's talk through it. But I really want to be very transparent if that's something I can't change. Like, I'm a very emotional woman. Some men don't like that. I've been told in relationships, I'm too emotional.
okay.
I'm not going to change that. That's just part of my
It's something
DNA.
you like about yourself.
I do wish I can kind of control. I've learned techniques on, give me a moment, let me circle back with you on that.
Okay.
Or not have the conversation in the moment, right? But I can't change that part of who I am. So I just I'm learning to accept those flaws. And also be aware of when I'm meeting someone that is this just exposing who I am, just trying to be my genuine self in the beginning,
Right.
versus trying to, because in the beginning, you try to put your best foot forward, and which is fine, but at the end of the day, I don't want someone to ever say this is not who I met. You know what I mean? So you can go always like a crying, emotional, crazy. That's all right. You knew it from day one.
And let me ask you this. I love that you said you expose everything. Is everybody worthy of your everything when
Absolutely
you initially
not.
meet them? Okay.
Yeah. One of my prayers is for those I don't recognize that are not intended for me, that God removes them. But for the most part, I have a harder discernment. So I gotta get a feel of who should be in company with me or not. So to your point, everyone does not get that level of vulnerability.
Right. Okay. I love it. I love it. So let me ask you all, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. Can you give me a little overview of your experience? Like, now I'm talking about what has come to you, what you've experienced, and maybe your pain points in dating, loving, married in Atlanta while Black.
I'm gonna start with the first word, inconsistency. That's why I say it's so very important for me to show up who I am in the beginning, because you get that in the beginning, like, oh, the words, the actions, and then it starts to die down. And that's what I've been seeing, the inconsistent piece of it.
Mhm.
You know, it's one thing to say, hey, well, yeah, in the beginning, I did like you. That changed. I get that, right?
Yeah.
But let's have conversations.
Mhm.
We're not having the conversations. Just the ghosting and the
Gaslighting
and the breadcrumbing and all
things.
the other things. And, you know, you think at this level in your life, I'm okay with saying my age. I'm 48. I had a 28-year-old son. You would think at this level, there's conversations. And I challenged myself to do that too. Recently met someone, and after so many weeks, I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is the right step for me. This is not going to work.
Yeah.
I was upfront. I challenged myself because I can't say I want that, and if I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I love that.
Didn't we say the dating pool has piss in it? already?
Yes.
Didn't we already say that?
We did not say
So,
that.
I'm
we
saying that's it.
we alluded to
The
it now.
dating pool has
Well,
piss in it. It's got a
well,
little other
it
stuff
get-
in it too, but
yeah.
thank you for bringing it
You
up.
know, but I mean, to you know, your point about, you know, you're 48 years old. One of the things I've learned is that most men, regardless of race, don't even emotionally mature until age 52.
Oh, thank you for that. We can wrap this up now.
So
then.
that's
I
what.
just
No,
need to
no,
start
no, no,
dating
no,
people
no,
that
no,
are
no,
53 and
no,
up.
no. There's more to it too now. You know, but the biggest thing with that is, many men don't have that emotional stability within themselves to figure out what it is that they want. And so, but on the flip side of it, for those men that, like I said, do I feel like I grew up the right way? Absolutely. That have an emotional release in the mother and the father. What I'm finding is in dating, it's very difficult for women to deal with a man that, I hate to say the term, knows
Just
his
say it.
value. I don't
Just
want to
say
say
it.
it.
Say it.
But that
Say it.
knows who he is and what he wants. Because when you know who you are and you know exactly what you want, if somebody doesn't meet your standards, guess what? It's 7 women to 1 man in the city.
You're right.
So you have the ability as a man that understands, it has the drive, has the ambition, has all of the prerequisites. You can cut them off just like this.
No, what is it again? Let me hear it.
Just
All
like
right, I
that.
just want
You
to
know
make
what I'm
sure.
saying?
Okay.
You know, but that gets old. And I'm 29 for reference. You know, so
Yeah.
if I'm telling you at my age it gets old, I can only imagine what happens as we progress in our years. And you just want that stable, consistent partner. But it goes back to what you said beautifully in one word: inconsistency. That's the greatest issue.
All right. I would say the biggest thing that I see about the dating pool here is we move so fast. We lead with sex and we don't really get to know a person. And when problems arise, the first thing we say, oh, that person's crazy. And we didn't get the opportunity to really dive and ask the right questions. You know, dating is fact-finding. And I think a lot of times when that happens, we do it in reverse and we waste our time, you know, and we waste, you know, our energy. Having sex is a spiritual connection. It's the most intimate thing. And I feel like when we start with that and then afterwards the problems arise and we try to get to know the person, it's too late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
I
fact that
agree.
you said we don't get an opportunity, or we just not using the opportunity to have the conversations up front, because we saw that person across the room at the Thompson, and when we talked, she was already 3 drinks in, and she cute, and she's saying all the right things and pushing all the right buttons, and so your mind goes to sex.
Yeah.
But what I think is Atlanta is a city where it is still a Black Mecca when it comes to finance and power. And it has been put on a pedestal literally just for that. But it also equally is put on a pedestal for being one of the worst cities to date and marry, because of just all the buffoonery that is taking place. And I'm proud of Atlanta for the emphasis on Black excellence in education and financial empowerment, but we missed something else. Because all of this, without this, it feels, what was the point?
Yeah.
Right? And I feel like it's a city that is intentionally presents itself with, this is what I do, this is where I live, this is what my passport says. It's about all of our accomplishments. And we want to date our equal with accomplishments, and we never talk about who you are really as a person. So it doesn't feel intentional, right?
Oh yeah.
And then when you get a little older, now you have your experiences that lead the conversation. The person is talking, but everything that you've experienced is going on in your head,
Right.
and you're trying to figure out which box they're going to fit in, right? And how you're going to show up for them based on trigger words you may hear. It feels toxic, because it's like, I would love everybody in Atlanta to just stay at home, stop dating for a while, and everybody go to their corners, get the help you need,
I like
Yeah.
that.
get over the
Yeah.
trauma, get you know what I'm saying, work
Yeah.
through the triggers, do yourself, like he said, self-development, then come back out the house when you got your act together.
Absolutely.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
Can't tell that to people.
You can't tell that to people, because
No one
everybody
wants
wants
to be
a
alone.
microwave. We want it right now.
Yeah.
Regardless of, it looks good, but this person is, to your point, is crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
what made you gravitate
Attracted
to a
to-
person
yeah.
who was
Yeah.
crazy?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we have a hidden attraction to toxicity that's not discussed in the Black community. I mean, nobody wants to. I mean, again, if we're
That's
gonna have this
true.
conversation,
Please
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
we need to address the fact that Black people as a culture have an inherent attraction to toxicity, predominantly based on the fact that's what most of us saw.
Right.
But nobody
Drama.
wants to say that.
We want to say it. Go ahead, keep
Yeah.
saying it.
But I mean,
Yes.
no one wants to say it in mass.
Yes,
you
right,
have
right,
all
right.
we have all these platforms. You really think about the Black community. You got all these platforms of all of the excellence. To your point,
Yeah.
Ms. Faye, that we promote. So we know how to promote excellence,
Yes.
but we also know how to propagate degeneracy
Yes.
at the same or if not higher rates.
Yeah.
And but the problem is that when you make that statement, and you ain't the right shade of Black, or you ain't the right, there's so much internal
Hate.
hatred, internal
Yeah.
warfare, internal
Yes.
strife, going back to
Right.
again
Mm-hmm.
inconsistency
Consistency.
in dealing with what you are,
Right.
Yeah.
not what you want to be, and not
Yeah.
what your homeboys are, or your homegirls, whatever.
Right.
We don't want to deal with that, and then we wonder why we still got problems.
What looks good, or what it looks appears in front of everyone else.
Because
versus yourself.
the greatest problem in all of these conversations is that and no one wants to say this, other races are not having these kinds of conversations in public.
Why is that?
That's how you and I met. That's how you and I got together, because
Right.
I saw a
Okay.
reel that was you who said some lady across in Germany or
Germany.
Spain or whatever.
Yeah.
She was just like, "Oh, I could take care of Black men better, this and that, because y'all say Black women are too masculine and this and blah blah blah." And he came on and he was just like, "What gives you the right to? Excuse me, ma'am, mind your business. Who told you can have this conversation with us? And you don't know
Yes.
all the details of the
Yeah.
story. You
Right.
just read the cover."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, the bullet points. You didn't go into the chapters and see why, someone is highlighting these pain points or these
Right.
issues for them.
Yeah.
So you can't speak up on it.
Mhm.
And I see that in media all the time. Like, people who talking about things,
Mm-hmm.
you have no business talking about it.
Mm.
I'm sorry.
That all.
I'm gonna use this example. It may be just not popular, but when the NFL started taking a knee, right?
Mhm.
I was highly offended when I heard my white colleagues, especially my female colleagues, have a conversation. Like, it's one thing to talk in the kitchen or at the bar with your girlfriends, but
Totally
why would
different.
you put fingers to a keyboard or phone and reply, "Ma'am, you don't have a Black son, and you don't have a son in the NFL. Why are you
Right.
talking?
Right. Right.
And your son is not going to be racially profiled. Please stop."
Right.
So my thing is, talk when you need to talk
Yeah.
in public,
In public.
because you can say whatever you want to in your
Ex-
car and
Exactly.
with
Yeah.
your
At
friends.
home or yeah.
Right. It's just it's like irresponsible to me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so when I heard him say that, I was like, so let's get together and have a real conversation.
Makes sense.
I love what you brought up, and I want to stay on this path. To me, I hear self-hatred.
Mm-hmm.
When I go out here in Atlanta, when he started talking about the shades and all of this stuff, it is extremely weird and frustrating
Mhm.
to get so much discontentment, so much like just carelessness, how we handle each other in my own community.
Right.
When I just remember growing up, I didn't feel like that.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
You
That
know,
was not it.
you may have
Yeah.
everybody like this one boy or everybody like
Mhm.
this one girl, but you still could have a person. Everybody
Yeah.
still had a lane.
Right.
Yeah.
And everybody still liked each other.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a
Now
sense
it
of
almost seems
community.
like people don't even like each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I'll deal with you because I have to have a companion, bud. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until the next best thing come along.
Yeah.
What is that
See
about? What is
Phyllis.
that? What
Yeah.
is that underlining?
Mhm.
Why
I
have
mean,
we not
you-
worked through our self-hatred? 'Cause
You
that's
already-
what I'm getting.
You already brought it up because we are more concerned with the image than the actuality of the person, and that's you. This is a conversation that has been had on college campuses, and I'm gonna bring up another content creator. He's not here anymore. Kevin Samuels
Yes.
raised a lot of these same
Yeah.
points. Now, did I like his delivery? Hell no, I didn't like his
Nope.
delivery.
Mhm.
But the facts that he
message.
stated.
Mhm.
Yeah.
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 Without
A lot
a
of them
doubt.
were very, very true. He spent 2.5 of his 5 years that on YouTube talking directly to men. He doesn't gain traction. He doesn't gain traction because the number one consumers of that type of content and perpetuators of that type of content are women.
No woman, yeah.
Which is why his message about clean up your room when he was talking to men, learn how to wipe yourself properly for God's sake.
Yes.
Those videos those don't have the
Yeah.
traction, but when he's telling the woman the harsh reality about dating and her being average at
Right.
best,
Right.
that's gonna guarantee more traction.
Mhm.
Because it looks like self-hatred, but in actuality, what that was one black man giving his point of view, however fractured it may have been,
Right.
about how to address some of the problems.
Right.
And in order for you to grow, and as we've already said here, you got to do the self. You have to do the self work.
Yeah.
And many black people are uncomfortable. This is why so many black folks are not going to therapy. And
Yeah.
and there's only been a recent trend where black people have started going to get mental health now in the
Yeah.
past 6 years.
Right.
You tell a black person to go to therapy, ain't nothing wrong with me. What you trying to say? What I'm trying to say is you got a damn problem and you need to get fixed. But that's just the truth of the matter.
What is that? I know you're open to therapy.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
open to therapy. What about yourself, Ed?
I don't have a therapist, but I am open to therapy.
Okay.
And I think I definitely see the value in having that, that party that you can talk to, unbiased party, But I definitely see the value in it. I see with friends and family members how it has benefited them in so many different ways. So
I love
for
it.
sure. Mhm.
Now I gotta ask a really question. So, what piss did you all put in the pool?
Why you look at me to go first?
Right.
It was your statement. It was
I
beautiful
mean,
too.
well, I'll tell you. The piss that I put in the pool was thinking that there was nothing wrong with me in the beginning. It was thinking that I did not have any issues. It was thinking that I didn't have to be accountable. It was thinking that, you just tell her what they want to hear. And then you have to, I forgot that whatever you do to get them, you got to do that to keep them if you want the relationship to work. Because as men, I think we all experience that. We get you the roses, we take you on the dates, and then we set a standard. Hold the damn standard that you set.
Yeah.
That's it. That was of everything that I would say I've done wrong. That would be probably the greatest flaw that I would say I possess initially.
That's the piss you put in the pool.
That's the piss I put in the pool. I sold a dream.
You saw-
Now I have to. I've learned that I can deliver on the same dreams that I'm selling.
It's weird, and I'm gonna ask you all this in a minute too.
Yeah.
It's amazing that when you go for an interview, you put your best foot forward. If you don't perform how you showed up in the interview, you have quarterly or annually reviews, right? It's funny how we don't do that in relationships. Like the conversations we had in 2020 or 2021 with each other, we still together. We need to continue to have conversations because we're growing, right? We're evolving.
Right.
And we need to also do an assessment. How are we doing?
Checkpoints.
Checkpoint.
Yeah.
Very quickly, everybody here familiar with Jordan Peterson? Dr. Jordan Peterson. He's a clinical psychologist out of Canada.
I know, but I don't. But
What
tell
you
us.
just said, he talks about advocating 8 hours a week minimum to sit down with your partner and do just that.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
that was, yeah.
That
I
is-
love that. Yeah.
That
you
is-
gotta put that dedication.
It's
and
amazing
commitment.
because
Mhm.
I see more people putting the effort into the wedding
Yeah.
than the marriage.
Right. Right.
And then you wonder why the black community has the highest divorce rate of any other ethnic group ever.
Yeah.
Mhm.
60 to 70% of first marriages
Mhm.
among African American
Yeah.
ends in divorce,
Yeah.
Mhm.
where the other groups is 30 to 40%.
Right.
Now, of course, a lot of that is tied to systemic things.
Yeah.
Education, incarceration, financial disparities. But a lot of it is just stupid choices.
Right.
I'll let you all answer the what piss have you
Ooh.
put in the pool?
I put my past drama and trauma in the pool, and not knowing I was putting that off onto the person who didn't even cause it.
So misplaced anger, misplaced.
I would say for me is knowing when to pivot. You know, like staying in a relationship, knowing when I know it's not the right relationship for me, and just trying to figure out ways to make it work. But just making that decision, and then ultimately, when it doesn't work, and I stay on in something that I know it's not going to work, it always ends off and on a bad note. You know.
Yeah.
And so I would say that would be the biggest thing for me personally.
All right, love it. My piss that I put in the pool is just past traumas. I'm a long-term avoider. I prefer to just get in, have a good time.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna show up like a star, but I remember the movie Heat where Robert De Niro say, I don't want to get attached to nothing. I can't leave in 30 seconds.
Wow.
And I just had that mentality.
That's classic, right?
I had that mentality. I just like, boo, let's just keep it like it is.
Right,
You know?
right.
I've never been married. I'm 52. It's not a lack of because there have not been knees on ground and rings and faces, but I was just like, growing up in a married household, I saw my mom and dad roles, and I just was not interested in hers. And we're going to pivot on marriage.
Love
now.
that.
All right.
So, let me ask the guests, do you all want to be married? I'm not saying it's a requirement. There's no right or wrong. Do you want to be married?
I'm divorced, but absolutely want to remarry. Absolutely.
I definitely would like to be married, you know.
I was born in a married household. I want to die in a married
Absolutely,
household.
yeah.
So I mean, it's a marker of excellence for me. That's my personal marker of excellence. Because if I can find a woman that's gonna deal with me the same rate I can deal with her,
There you go.
one.
There you go.
One.
So, everybody on this panel have children, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
They may or may not be of the dating age, but we have kids.
Mhm.
And we all are someone else's child.
Yes.
And most of our parents, that was on their list for us to get a good education,
Yeah.
you can finish it with me, get a good
Good
job.
Yeah.
And
you
get married.
Get
Yep.
married. Yep.
Is that right?
So they'll talk to you about education, finance, maybe not. And this is the expectations. When you go to school, they'll kind of lay it out for you, right? There are rules. You fall into an organization, so you
Right.
abide by their rules.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a job, you fall into their organization, you abide by their rules.
Sure.
But marriage is a little different.
Yeah.
So which one of your parents actually told you the steps to becoming a great husband or wife?
Ooh.
Like that conversation.
That conversation was not had. And my
Yeah.
parents, almost 50 years in, still together. That conversation wasn't had.
It
Yeah.
wasn't had. So how do you step into an organization of marriage and be successful with no chapters, no rule books,
We're
no
freestyling.
How do you do that?
We are freestyling.
And how do you even know who qualifies? Because even on a job, you can only get it if you meet the requirements to
Yeah.
apply and get interviewed. To go to school, you have to have a certain SAT, ACT scores. You got to have certain grades to get accepted. But anybody could just willy-nilly get married.
Right, right.
So it's no wonder
Mm-hmm.
that the numbers just are not in our favor.
Well, part of that is, again, you look at the Black community, you are more likely to repeat what you've seen.
Right.
So the first thing is to understand that we, again, created a culture. Of course, a lot of it has to do there. We know there are systemic things that led to single parent households being the dominant households in the Black community. But let's understanding that, let's still look at the internals of that. Dating is I say this on all my podcasts all the time. Dating is the one area in life where your subjective opinion is also an objective standard. Because if I say I don't want to date a woman that weighs 300 pounds, that's my objective. That's not my objective standard. It's purely opinion based.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
But damn it, that's my standard. I'm gonna stick to it. That's why I work at it. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, but we apply those scrutinizing standards to the most basic level of what I say BS.
Yeah.
Right? What's really more important is, are you gonna find somebody? My mom always puts it this way. So forgive me for what I'm about to say, but I love the way she put it. All the money you make at the end of the day is not gonna matter. Because when you old in that nursing home, are you gonna be by yourself? Somebody gonna be to wipe your ass for you.
There you go.
Because at the end, and the conversation about what does it take to be a good husband, what does it take to be, but I had that conversation with my parents when I was 24 years old.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I was 24 years old.
Right.
Because I had experiences and I was in a bad relationship at the time, and they were trying to pull me out
Okay.
Gotcha.
of a situation, but I wasn't damn listening.
Okay.
So the conversation that I had to have was, I asked my dad, I said, what is it about mama that made you marry her and stay married this long? And the answer that he gave was, it almost brings me to tears every time I think about it. He said, if you ever had a very good day at work and you happen to come home and your favorite food happens to be in the refrigerator or it happens to be waiting on the table. I said, yeah. He said, okay. He said, if you ever had, after that, you have a good meal, you take a shower. And for whatever reason, you feel better after getting out shower than you did even when you ate your meal and when you got home. I said, yeah. He said, then you go to bed, you have a good night's sleep. Have you ever had that experience happen? At least once. I said, yeah. And he looked at my mother and he said, she makes me feel like that every day.
Wow.
That's beautiful.
When you have something, and now I've created that, I've memorized that.
Right.
I've taken that.
And now we all heard it too.
Right.
Right.
And so now I take that.
that nugget. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I take that and sum it up by saying this. Can you find somebody, or when you find somebody that makes your day better with their presence than without it? On a consistent, going back, on a
consistency.
consistent basis.
Yeah.
That's how you know you found what you're looking for.
Right. I love that.
That's one of the process. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I feel really, it is a state of sadness
Yeah.
It is.
because having your degree, having your big house, having your girls trip is great.
Right.
And I'm not, this conversation is in no way telling you have to be married.
Right.
Sure.
What this conversation is doing is forcing you to do the things that you need to do to be happy and peaceful and also project that and bring that into your life.
Right.
Individually, you got to do the work in your little corner of the world. Once again, I would love for everybody to go in the house and sit down and do the work.
Yeah.
And don't
You
come
can't
back
do the
out
work
until
at the
done.
hookah bar.
Yeah.
You can't do the work intoxicated. You can't do the work running through sexual partners over the weekend because you're bored. And you can't do the work backtracking with that relationship you know didn't work 3 years ago because you haven't
Right.
found somebody else. And you
Right.
go back. I think we've all been guilty of that. Or had somebody try to come back. It's like,
Right.
the reason.
Oh, they gonna spin the block now.
Spin the block. I left that job for a reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, so for solutions, how will we move forward when it comes to, since everybody on here said they want to be married. I never said I did.
Okay.
So,
Why have you?
All right.
now I do see the value in the institution of marriage because to me it's so sexy to have someone witness your life.
Sure.
Like, girl, remember you started this business and now, or remember you was on your way journey. Look at you now.
Yeah.
Remember, like that is really to me like absolutely the sexiest
Right.
thing ever.
Yeah.
Like that's your partner, that's
Yeah.
your peeps.
Yeah.
I have this toxic relationship with dating in Atlanta
Mhm.
because I don't believe, to your point, it's a lot of Black people that will not do the work.
Yeah.
I was speaking to this gentleman. He doesn't live here, but out of town, successful, et cetera, et cetera. And a week into the conversation, 1 week after talking on the phone, I was talking about therapy and my show, and he had
Yeah.
watched that. And then I asked him about, I forgot in the beginning to ask him, because you got to ask the questions. Have you had therapy? And when he at 55 said no, that was the last conversation we had. Because I'm not finna play games with nobody. You 55, you know better.
Sure.
That's like saying I've been overweight all my life and you keep saying you want to lose weight. But when did you go to the gym? When did you get a plan? So that means you just talking, you lip service.
Yeah.
And everybody got,
Something.
trauma that they got to
Yeah.
heal from. And if you 55,
Yeah.
you on a dating app, you didn't raise your kids, you didn't been divorced, and you ain't never went to see nobody. I won't be your therapist because I'm not she.
Or even accountability partner. So if you don't have a therapist, do you have that father figure, that elder, someone that holds you accountable that you can have a conversation with?
Sure.
I look back and you reflect back on some of the relationships and you think like, okay, this guy I dated or the one I was married to, no father, no accountability partner. Yeah, you have friends or homeboys, but who are you having those conversations with and saying, hey, man, that don't look right? Or even for, sisterhood, we big on sisterhood. And I have those accountability partners. My mom, blessings, they're still here as well too. But to your point, not just therapy, but you got to take a pause back when someone has not done the work on themselves and you don't have an accountability partner.
Sure.
So yeah, I talk to myself too. I get it,
Yeah,
but
me too.
you like to your point, you got to have those conversations. But who else is giving you that feedback and looking you in your face and saying, "Sister or brother, this ain't right."
Yeah.
You know, have you thought that's a little crazy? Have you thought about this? If you don't have that, that was one of the aha moments for me when it come to dating. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one. To your point, I'm not trying to be your therapist. This above my pay grade.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
your therapist. Yeah, you got to have the conversation, like you all said, to your point, with yourself. And I just, like I said, I think everybody is a reason to pause.
Yeah.
If the dating pool has so much piss in it, obviously we like piss if we still dating.
Yeah.
I agree with you saying.
I mean, did you get bit by a jellyfish or something? I'm
Yeah.
confused why you like to piss so much. So step back, do the work,
Yeah.
you know, and just be a better version of yourself. This show is all about exposing the blind spots, the things that we didn't know,
Right.
and then working through them. And since you are parents, maybe this is a aha moment for you to have conversations with your kids of how not to just be a great man or a great finance person or a great business person, but how to be a great partner. Like real life examples.
Right.
Because there was a big campaign years and years ago growing up that said drink responsibly.
Yeah.
Do you know what responsibly is? I'm asking you.
Yes.
What is it?
Responsibly is keeping yourself accountable to your actions.
I'm talking about in relationship to alcohol. I'm going to ask you about this campaign. Drink responsibly. What does that mean to you?
Drink responsibly, drink in moderation, and not do anything that's going to be abusive to yourself or your partner.
It's subjective.
Yeah, I mean,
Is there, meaning you?
No, I mean, it drink within your, understand your limits, stay well within them.
Right.
Do you all know it's a real definition?
Yeah.
It's like 0.4 ounces.
Wow.
So I love how you all gave the
Okay.
no, it's actually
Actual.
responsibly in the eyes of the law. It's like 0.4 ounces.
Got it.
It's like a
Wow.
half a beer,
Wow.
a small glass of red wine.
Mm-hmm.
Anything like a mixed drink, you're out of it.
Okay.
It's not responsible.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You see how that
Yeah.
was missed on us all those years?
Yeah.
So to tell your kids to go to school, get a good education,
I see what you're
get a
doing.
good job,
Yeah.
and get find out what does that mean?
Yeah.
What's the ounces? What's the percentage?
Right.
What does good look like?
But see, that is where it would become subjective, because everyone is supposed to live their life responsibly.
Yeah.
Everybody's not meant to be a great scientist, a great artist, a great musician, a great speaker. Everybody's not meant to be that. The prescribed limit is whatever gift God has given that individual
Absolutely.
person. Now, if you fail to use those gifts and be accountable for the gifts you have, that's the type of responsibility that I think you're missing.
Right.
100%.
Totally agree.
But it's worth the conversation,
It's
right?
worth the
Absolutely.
conversation.
It's definitely
Yeah.
And we give our
conversation.
kids, and we've heard the things with these little mantras, these sayings, like, okay, great, you start saying it, and somebody say, what does that mean? You can't even really explain it to them.
Yeah.
But you've been living your whole 52 years
Off of
off
that
of this
mantra.
thing that you can't even explain.
Yeah.
So let's start talking to each other with real words, examples. This is what I mean. So if you say, what are you looking for in a woman? You may say she needs to be physically fit. She needs to be this. She needs to make this kind of money. Just say it.
Right.
Yeah.
I just want somebody who actually was raised in a 2-parent household,
Mm-hmm.
who has an education and who values herself,
Mm-hmm.
who knows how to communicate, who will call me out on my stuff, and we can have a great time together. And also when it comes to the alcohol, drug department is
Yeah.
extremely conservative, because I don't want to
Right.
end up having to wipe
Yeah.
her butt or his butt too
Yeah.
early because they didn't take care of
Yeah.
themselves along the way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Totally agree.
Mhm.
Like, when the last time you had that conversation with somebody?
Oh, I have that conversation, especially at this age. Like, don't come around when your heart about to give out. We didn't start this game together. So, yeah, I'm just saying.
Boom.
Now I
Yeah.
gotta push you through the grocery store. 'Cause
Oh,
now
my
you
God.
ready,
I
now
gotta
you
go
ready
back
to
down
settle,
the
now
diaper
you ready
aisle
to settle
with you.
down. Let me go ahead and settle down now. It's getting a little rough out here.
It's
Nah.
getting-
We gotta. I want
My
to be able to.
knees.
We walking through the airport together. We're gonna take these flights together.
That's
We're gonna
right.
enjoy life together
You have those
in
experiences.
a healthy way
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
and together. And no, if somebody has health issues, that's totally different. I'm not saying I'm completely healthy, but at the end of the day, you got to not live reckless.
But that's the word. You know,
right.
somebody living reckless. Really, you go out and smoke cigars and drink every night. That sounds fun if I'm just kicking it with you.
I got to ask you, did you drink any
and
water
then the
today?
amount of money that you're spending too, but are you really good for a life partner? Because I know that where I want to go, and this kind of seems like it would derail my plans.
Makes sense.
So I'm just asking you all to date with intention. Show up your best self. Stay your ass in the house for the next couple of weeks and do the work.
And do the work.
Do the work. Yeah.
That way, when you do the work, you won't even have these conversations become less because you won't even attract that bull crap no more.
Absolutely.
To a degree.
To a degree. And don't lead with sex. We all done had sex before. You're not going to pass away if you just say, I'm actually get to know this person. I'm going to just do an experiment.
May go through some withdrawals, but you'll be okay.
Yeah, right.
So you'll be okay.
Right. Jesus Christ. It's not that show, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. So anything else? Anybody want to input before we wrap this up? It's been a great conversation
about solutions because we have these conversations all the time. But you talk about it, what's the solution? I love how you said go in the house.
Go sit down.
On yourself. I appreciate that.
Put yourself on the bench.
Yes.
It's okay.
It's okay. You still on the team.
You're still on the team.
Yeah.
You just get some rest.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to hang the jersey up, you know. Mike played baseball for a couple of years, you know, and then he came back. So you have to figure out what you love and go after that. Not what you lust, not what you like. Figure out what you love. There's a major difference.
Absolutely.
Because the flesh ain't never satisfied. But with love that's why love is stronger. So you have to identify that.
It'd be nice to know if people are looking for love.
I know.
Or just looking for not to be bored.
Well, you know, we live in a generation. Some people still asking, "What's love got to do with it?" So we got to change. You know, we have to change the mindset, change the morality, change the outcomes.
I love it. But don't go away. We're gonna actually talk to a couple that's doing it. They're doing the marriage thing in the ATL. We'll be right back.